It is a mistaken practice, not a blameworthy one. The terms that are used are type 1, which is nicking or cutting the clitoris. Type 2 FGC is actually cutting the clitoris and even the lips. And type 3 is a more severe type of cutting, which involves cutting out the clitoris and also cutting the lips and doing either infibulation or a sealing operation where you close the lips and there's one small hole that is left.
Well, she may die, first of all, of shock due to intolerable pain. These things are done with primitive instruments and generally on the dirt floor of huts, and a lot of them bleed to death. Well, we escaped, and I escaped particularly. And I walked around all my life with this unbelievable dose of survivor guilt. Why had I been spared when 6 million others who were, no doubt, many of them far more valuable human beings than I was, and why had I been spared? And when I fell over this topic on my first night in Khartoum, somebody told me about it, and I said, oh my God, surely this must happen only off in the bush somewhere, in remote desert. Really primitive people. No, every woman in this city has had this done to her. Well, there it was. There was my reason for being spared. I'd like to say, first of all, that I've been working on all of this for 26 years now. And my work has taken the form of publishing 3 books and working on a 4th, attending all kinds of scientific meetings all over the world, publishing in all kinds of professional journals, and just making the Western world aware of this, where there was absolutely no awareness of this. It involves somewhere in the vicinity of 130 million women now living. If you want to get an idea of how many people that is, if you were to walk from Chicago to San Francisco, every person that you would meet along the way, it would be about that amount. I've gotten involved with asylum cases, and a couple of years ago, maybe 3 years ago, I got my first phone call from someone who was a lawyer who was handling an asylum case, and wondered if I could write an affidavit for this woman. And then it kind of snowballed, and I not only began to write affidavits, but to serve as expert witness in the court itself, to give testimony there. They've defied the male establishment, and these men are looked down upon then because they can't control their women. She may get away with just being genitally mutilated and publicly humiliated and married off to some old man where she tried to avoid the marriage. And or they may just kill her outright. You know, a type of honor killing. Usually it's an uncle that's involved. That the uncle, who is the dominant male in the family, will no longer be looked down upon for allowing, for not being able to control his women.
We're in the midst of an historic movement that is now going to be taken across Africa. When we put human rights in the program, everything changed. And at first we didn't get it. We said, what's going on? There was this enormous reaction in the field. There was this energy that was pouring out of our classrooms, that people were standing up, they were speaking out, they were doing things, they were very proactive. It was an amazing thing to witness. And we thought, what's going on? Because we've been doing education classes for 10 years now, and we've never had this amount of enthusiasm and engagement and commitment towards certain issues. And we realized that people were waking up to their human rights in a way that surprised us. So we started putting more of an emphasis on human rights and put that at the beginning of our modules. And that is what really, I believe, led to women being able to stand up and decide to abandon the practice.
I keep hearing on the radio through the internet that Mrs. Clinton has gone to Senegal and visiting villages, and that the person who was coordinating all that was Molly Merche. She said, okay, come. I came in 2000, May of 2000. I was supposed to finish in May of 2001. I'm still here because when I came, I was supposed to organize the accounting system, computerize it, but then I realized that the organization needs to be decentralized, needs to be reorganized. So I encouraged Molly to do that, and it turned out to be much longer work. And we're still at reorganization of the organization, spreading it out to empower people to be able to give us the maximum of their effort.
We have been working with the villagers and with the participants on the idea that everyone has the human right to health and responsibility to health, to protect daughters. And so that would really include all forms of cutting that should be abandoned because it can lead to hemorrhage, infection. If you use a razor blade that has not been sterilized and there's no anesthesia, there's no alcohol, it is very easy to get an infection, and it is easy to get tetanus, and it also can cut an artery, and so it can lead to hemorrhage. So